It's called a loss. Hello?
Hello. Thanks. You ruined it. I was on a roll. I was prepared. You ruined everything. Now we can't start the. Now we cannot start the intro. Hi, welcome to It's Called the Lens. You know the thing. You're probably wondering why it's taken us so long to deliver this episode, and I'm not going to make a bunch of excuses. So I'm just going to start with the. I'm just going to start with the summary. After not making a bunch of excuses.
You can't start the summary right away. You put swears in that, so we gotta stall at least 30 seconds, or else I'm gonna be angry.
Oh yeah,
I've read your summary.
In my defense,
stalled enough.
In my defense, I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong with my placing of a swear, and I even got better. I replaced an F-bomb with a different word for it. The more grim dark word.
You've played enough. You can deliver your curse-filled summary.
Yeah, so no shit. I forgot to include that part. So no shit. We receive a description of the beautiful port town of Bellefour and the owner of the Pig and Whistle Tavern, William Sweetwater. We also learned that the High Dragon Lords invaded the town, taking it over. The patron of our tavern, William, spots some strangers from abroad, unfamiliar faces. After he spent some time and figured there weren't the High Lord's minions, he serves some ale and food and tries to refuse payment because, they seem pretty chill. There was much debate amongst the party until a mysterious red-robed man with metallic skin did some magic tricks. Not like spellcasting magic tricks, just regular magic tricks, with a coin exchanged for food, ale, and lodgings. We then learn who this mysterious man was. It's our boy Raceland. He then proceeded to do tricks in the town for coin. And slowly, the rest of the adventuring party got on board, which was all part of Tanis's master plan of getting money and getting the Draconians to think that they are a traveling show. The party left Bellefour fully equipped with a wagon and horses, and then left town. At Lord Gunther's castle, we witnessed Derek being a bitch. We also learn about the leadership of the ranks of the Knights of the Islamic Knights, and about Gunther, and the fact that he has a great distaste for the politicking that is happening behind the backs of, everybody there. We also learned that there are two people who could try to take the place as a Grand Master of the Orders, between himself and Fething Derek. The trial of Sturm is ongoing and continues throughout the chapter. Sturm accuses Derek of misrepresenting him to further his own ambitions, which is a big no-no amongst the Islamic Knights. Sturm was found guilty, informed that he could not wear the trappings of the Knights, could not receive pay from the Orders, and was granted the command of the Knights of the Crown, the lowest of the Orders. Our boy Raceland is sad that his traveling show is over and is lamenting that he could have been happy doing this. Then he begins to examine the green dragon orb, which tells him to rest, and that the library of, oh my god, I am terrible at pronouncing, and I did not do my research before this. And Stosmus, Atlantis, yes. The library of Palanthus are books of knowledge that he needs. Also, Tika is trying to get Caramon to put out. Caramon explains that he can't right now because he has to devote himself to his brother, who had a dream that they were at one point one person, but cursed by the gods to be in two bodies. So Caramon insists that means that he has to be Raceland's strength. and that he loves Tika, and he wishes that he could be with her. But that if by doing so he would put her first beyond all things. But he can't do that right now. His brother must come first. Gunther arrives home to find Fizban and Tass there. The pair, they came looking for the dragon orb, which was given to the gnomes. We learn a little bit about the gnomes, like how they invented springs and steam engines. But as far as I could tell, not cannons. Like, to shoot cannonballs. Incredibly useful, especially for fighting dragons. We also learn that the gnomes' plan for when they saw the humans landing, which was completely understandable that they should hide their home, the humans are here. They, however, did not do that. But they did make a massive stink cloud, which the humans came to investigate, and then presumably everything went downhill from there, as per usual when interacting with humans. The chapter opens with the sentence, "You have to cut gnomes off because they will never shut up if you don't." Then, while they are wandering through the halls of Mount Nevermind, a whistle sounds, which shocked Tass long enough for him to notice that his hoopak was taken by a herd of curious gnomes. We also learn of Nosh, one of the first gnomes to introduce himself to Fizban and Tass. Tass, who after coming to Mount Nevermind has changed his plans of returning to Pax Therakus to spending more time in Mount Nevermind to learn more about the gnomes there. The gnomes are fantastic and I love them. They're actually my favorite so far. The Mad Bastards, instead of using something as quaint as stairs or as insidious as elevators, decided to invent catapult technology to launch them between the floors, and that is fantastic. They also have one of my favorite lines. It's Skaboosh's problem, not yours. And I love that about them. To make some matters short, Fizban sees the orbs and orders everybody out of the room, with a look so frightening that even Tass takes a step back. Fizban informs Tass that he sees two paths forward, one that is easy and one that is much, much harder. At the Council of Whitestone, we learn a few things about the voting members, who include the Knights of Salamia, the Gnomes, the Hill Dwarves, the Seafaring people of Northern Northern Urgoth, and a representative from the Salamic Exiles, as well as the non-voting members, the Elves, the Mountain Dwarves, and the Kender. Everyone was supposed to receive a message about the Second Council. However, not everyone could attend. The Mountain Dwarves could not be reached in time for the Second Council. The Hill Dwarves were a little busy fighting the dragon armies. And well, the Elves made it. That brought its own problems. Namely, the fact that they want their orb back, and they were willing to doom the world by going to war for it. The Council of Whitestone broke down almost immediately, until Tass knew what he had to do, what he had to become. The only adult in the room full of bickering children, more concerned with who owns the orbs than the fate of a world. And by that, I mean he yeeted the stone. He yeeted the orb at the stone, which caused the orb to shatter, which shut everybody up until the second adult entered the room, Fizban, who began to explain how they were all idiots until the Whitestone was split in half by Theros throwing a sharp silver lance, and announced that he had spent the last month making dragon lances. And I think that more or less gets us where we need to go.
We get to the title drop. 2 3/4 of books
later.
Or
we get the title drop.
1 3/4. We get the title drop. Yeah.
Yeah. We get the title drop. It was really cool. I think that about does us. Everyone go to bed.
That's the whole summary.
Oh, yeah.
All of
Yeah, that's. I think that does it for us. Keep it nice and short.
it. Totally.
So,
Yeah.
so then back to the top. The party arrives at Bellafor. The main cast are our boy Tanis, who honestly did not receive like any FaceTime. I think he's got a couple of speaking lines over this series of chapters, but a lot of it focused a lot on Raceland and a bit on Caramon.
Well, yeah, because Raceland, or not Raceland, Tanis just doesn't have the sheer talents that his friends do.
Yeah,
He's not a
because
skills-based character like them.
yeah, he decided to take all of his levels in Ranger.
Bow fighter.
Bow fighter.
Both. I used to play bass for bow fighters.
It's a good band name.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the chapter also focuses quite a bit on Goldmoon, I would say, as well.
Mhm.
And her sort of spreading of the faith, right?
Yes. Which I did
Recruiting
not-
clerics to the cause.
Yeah, because that
Helping
is going
people
to be
get
one
some
of...
class levels.
Yeah, exactly. I also just love the fact that it's starting to... The chapter was really hamming in the fact that, as Auntie Hauntie said much earlier, that Raceland has a lot of showmanship.
Yes.
Right, like this is the part where he gets to confirm that he did not dump his charisma, he dumped strength and con.
Yes.
Pretty much. Which you do
I,
typically as a wizard.
Yeah. I really like this chapter overall. I like,
too.
Beginning to end. I like that we got this page and a half setup of the town and the tavern, and it really did a lot of legwork in setting this area up. It was so short, but also so efficient at explaining what kind of place this was. A little bit down on its luck, but not that bad. And there's still some like cheery places, and everyone's trying to find something to pick themselves up. And that's the environment that the gang finds themselves in. And they have just this nice short little month-long adventure.
Yeah.
Also, at least for me, goes to show like the reason why our heroes should continue to keep fighting. Right? That not everything that they come across is the most doom and gloom of the entire world. That there are still spots of humanity and places for them to bring joy without just bringing violence.
Yeah.
I think some of them were bringing a little bit more than joy. I mean, Tika, stepped up
That
to do her
doesn't-
part, and it sounds like
Well, yeah, even in ye olde D&D sex sells. Like, that is one thing that has been pretty universal since the dawn of humanity, with the oldest profession in the world being, well, prostitution. Is that an okay word to say on YouTube?
I don't know.
Think so. I haven't heard it being a naughty word.
Constitution? What was that? That's
Yeah, Constitution score.
yeah.
Yeah. I love the Constitution score. It's
Roll your pro stat.
just a friendly reminder to everybody that prostitution is a performance check. Anyways, moving on.
Constitution is the thing that determines what the government can and cannot do.
Yes.
In America.
In America. But yeah, no, I think this chapter sticks out in a lot of like I have pretty strong memories of it. I think that it tends to stick out in everybody's head who reads the books. For a lot of the reasons you mentioned.
One more.
Yes.
Did you know that in the Canadian edition of Dungeons and Dragons, they renamed the Constitution stat the Bill of Rights stat?
It's true. 100%. It was very confusing for the first few times I went to look for some help on building characters here in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and it kept saying this Constitution thing, and I didn't get it because we have
sorry, Hauntie, go back to what you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I one thing I like about it is kind of like you said, but like the way that everybody sort of like in the party kind of like this isn't necessarily like a front that they came up with right away, right? Like as a group, like everyone in the group kind of joins over time, like as they like are seeing these shows happening and they're like, oh, I could do something, like Tika's like, oh, I bet I could dance. That seems fun, performing for people. And then eventually Goldmoon and Riverwind are like, yeah, we could do something. Like it lends a lot of authenticity, I think, to the fact that like these performances, like this is actually something they're doing, right? Like it's not like a smoke screen to conceal their existence as adventurers. Like they're just straight up making doing this to make money. Like
this is some traveling downtime action if we were playing some modern flavors of D&D. And I really like it. And I wish more of the games I played in did this. I miss downtime action.
Indeed.
Oh, and I think it's a good doubling down on who Raceland is, where like I think Raceland would have lived a much happier life if he could just if he just never developed magic and he just became a con man. I think he would have lived a much happier life.
Yeah.
Because he's just...
I don't even think he needs to be a con man.
I don't know. I don't know that he would have been Raceland.
Perhaps would be his preferred.
Yeah. He's out there because he's not conning anybody. He's playing tricks on them, but he's not like yeeting them, like taking all their money. He's spreading joy.
That's true. He's an entertainer. He's not a fraudster.
Yeah.
I would go in a slightly different direction because I don't think Raceland would be happy if he never developed the ability to cast magic. I think something inside of him would probably be quite depressed about being not only physically like the weakest, but like, the weakest in many other ways as well.
I think to a degree, I think the dynamic between him and Raceland or him and Caramon still hold if, say, Raceland was a thief class instead. I think the dynamic and everything, because he's still like, well, I don't get this strong body. I have to rely on my wits. It's kind of the same dynamic.
See, I think that the he'd be happier if this didn't happen, though, is already written into his background. Like he would have been happier. It's not the magic that makes him unhappy. It's not the access to power that makes him unhappy. It's the fact that the towers of high sorcery like shirked their duty and allowed him to take the test when he took the test.
Yeah.
Right. It's they kind of succumbed to their own, like they were like, oh well, he's got so much potential. Okay, yeah, we should, and then even Parsalian was kind of a douche about it. Like he's like, I'm gonna put this horrible curse on you and like then teach you how to make some tea to help. Like it was really like that's, I think, is sort of the fundamental issue is that if Raceland had been given the time and space to cultivate his abilities at a normal rate rather than facing a life or death test before he was ready and having to lean on a dark entity to help him survive it. Like,
and also with a whole family that like could have been there with him over a longer tutelage period would have been nice for him. Because, eternally ailing mother, disappeared father, or did the father die? I don't remember.
The father just kind of disappeared. He left.
Yeah.
And then I don't think we ever hear from him again.
Kind of, the older half sister who was in theory responsible for them, who also just kind of disappeared until she realized that, hey, my two little brothers who I'm supposed to be taking care of, they've got this friend who's kind of cute. Maybe I'll help my brothers again.
Yeah. I mean, that would have helped as well. But, I think when we look at where things go wrong, it's because like again, too, even with that, if he had been accepted as, like, say, an apprentice wizard or something by gone off to a tower to train to study it, blah 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 blah. Like Caramon wouldn't have gone with him, right? That would have and
Yeah.
that would have given them plenty of probably space and distance to develop into different people instead of the weird sort of codependent, co-abusive relationship that they have.
Yeah.
Like, I think at its core, Raceland just needed to be in an environment where his talents could be cultivated without the pressures and sort of attacks on his self-esteem that came from being surrounded and traumas that came from everybody else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can say, of course, like if he had if only his situation had been not the situation that it was, if his mother hadn't been crazy and sick, and his sister hadn't been a bitch, and his brother hadn't been, etc. Like, and he didn't like, but then that's a completely different character. I
Yeah.
think that we could still have Raceland as a character, like an alternate version of Raceland, if he just hadn't taken the tests when he did. I think that's
Yeah.
his moment where everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So
Especially with that
roughly-
specter, that dark specter that saves his life in the test and then sort of seems to have been haunting him ever since.
Yeah.
what that's all
He still
about.
would have been
Yeah.
a little edgy, but he wouldn't have been cursed and miserable. He is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being a little edgy.
Yeah. I mean,
But,
I don't
yeah.
even know if he would have been. He might have. There's even
Well, he
the
was
potential. Of
described as-
just
He was described like before his test as already kind of brooding.
yes, but so was I. He and I had a lot of the same
Yeah,
you're
pictures
edgy.
as youths. Yeah,
Yeah,
I am a little edgy, but
Who's among us isn't a
That's
little
what I'm
edgy?
saying.
It's true. I think there would have even potentially been a chance if they hadn't tested him when they did of him, like, I don't know, becoming a white robe wizard potentially, just from what we've seen of his like sort of core personality and the way that he like fundamentally does care about people. He just puts his pursuit of power ahead of that, right?
Mhm.
I wonder if he had been given proper tutelage and like proper time to like stew in the world of magic, if that would have been different,
Yeah. Yeah, if there had been adults in the room to say, hey, we probably shouldn't be making this kid do this, do advanced calculus instead of basic arithmetic, maybe he would turn out better.
Well, and also surround him with people who would respect him rather than people who, like friends, quote unquote, who were constantly, like we saw at the beginning of the first book, constantly bullying and insulting him
Yeah.
at every turn just because he was a little sour and
Yeah, everybody's just been a dick.
yeah. So
Yeah,
but so this was a nice chapter to see sort of that part of his personality kind of shine a little bit, put on the sequence.
Yeah.
And
having fun with his friends, building
Yeah.
a show with them, getting to show off a bit, use his theatricality.
Yep.
It's just good to see.
Yeah.
he finally gets to put all the ranks he put into perform out in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also, real ballsy of Goldmoon to have sung about like the real gods in front of the Draconians.
Well, was it though? Because it sounds like she was doing some magic. It sounds like she was doing a spell. Because
the only
it
reason
talks,
that I don't think it was a spell is that unless goblins are resistant to such things, but the goblins were like totally disinterested.
they were, but I think that's as good as they're gonna get because they're bored, right?
Yeah. And I
but the
guess it's also
Draconians
possible
are like,
because the dragon armies, as we know from book 1, the dragon armies don't necessarily take the return of the gods all that seriously. It was just Verminard who thought it was a big
True.
deal, and the rest of the army
True.
they don't really care as much. So
Yeah.
they're probably just like, oh, this lady singing about the old gods, whatever. We basically have this thing in the bag.
Yeah, because they are definitively winning the war right now. The old gods have not come down to smite any of them, so who cares if some lady is singing a song? She sings really nice, though, and that's what we care about.
I would say though that I mean, one, I do think that Draconians probably like. I would say that the Draconians probably take it with about as the Return of the Gods about as seriously as the dragons do, which is to say that like for them it seems it's likely a political situation rather than a situation of faith, right? It's not a religious return. It's just like this is the faction with which we are aligned.
Yeah.
This is our political reality. But
Yeah.
because of course they are, seem to be the foot soldiers, working for the dragons who work directly for Takesis, etc. It's the humans and everybody else who are like, meh. But also, I still think it's a spell because one important thing, like one, it seems to calm everybody down. But two, when people in the crowd were asked what the song was about, no one could say. And I don't think that's just because they weren't paying attention. They didn't remember it, except for the very few people who felt called to go and speak with Goldmoon after the song, who she would then recruit, and they would become clerics, which is like marked by them wearing the medallion. Because those medallions are not just in AD&D. Those medallions are not just like it's not like a Christian person walking around wearing a cross just to wear a cross. Those medallions are created through divine magic and are worn only by clerics. So she is creating a lot of first level, like a lot of level 1 clerics with this song. Like she's finding them and recruiting them. Like
yeah.
So I think there's something going on. Yes. So if she's not casting a spell, then the gods are intervening somehow to protect them in this moment. It's going to be one or the other, in my opinion.
You've sold me on this theory.
Yep.
Yeah.
You. There's even a cleric spell for creating the medallions of faith that people wear.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep. Basically get to copy it. You have one and then you put it in your hands. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. But anyways, as to not get bogged down, because we do have a bunch of chapters to keep going through.
6 chapters.
We have 5 chapters left. We got 1 done.
6 total.
Yeah, 6 total.
8 total.
What are you talking? Go.
What? I'm talking about the 9 chapters that we read.
Sit back down. Nobody. Oh my God. This is why I have a drinking
What? Didn't you read all 12 chapters?
I read all 13
Serious
chapters.
Masterful
Good.
gaslighting on display.
All right. Well, as long as we all read all 14 chapters.
Yeah. I got all 17 chapters down. Will, how about you?
Perfect.
Oh yeah, I got all 20.
Nice. All right.
All right. So
I finished book 3. Yeah.
hell yeah.
I finished digging in book 4. Did you guys get book 4 done?
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's a secret book. It was not out for the general public.
Yeah, I finished Dragonlance Legends. How about that?
Oh, no,
shit.
you did. No, you did not. You did not.
I got all 200 Dragonlance books I read.
No, that's bullshit. Next thing you're gonna tell me is I'm lying about reading the entirety.
I read Margaret Weiss's childhood journal. That's how far I am.
Damn. And I've read all of A Horus Heresy, every one of them.
Yeah, but I've read Dragons of Summer Chaos, and I feel bad about it.
I went to such great lengths, I had to go on to fanfic.com if that was still a thing. Fanfiction? I think it's fanfiction.
Why don't we start chapter 2 here with a list of descriptive terms for Derek? I think he could easily be described as a real doorknob.
I'm sorry. Just he's a bitch.
That's one.
And I mean that in the negative way.
I'm he's very shrewd. I'll say he's very shrewd.
Are we being polite?
Trying to not get sued for slander, are you?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is the sort of person who will take you to court, it turns out. So
yeah, he would.
I have one nice thing about this going to court. I don't think the courts would extradite me from Canada to
Solamnia.
To Solamnia.
Actually, if they would extradite me to Solamnia, I might commit some crimes.
Honestly, if I could go to Solamnia, then because they have dragons and they have gnomes, and the gnomes are one bad day away from making cannons and just sniping dragons.
Well, are they well, we'll get to the gnomes, but yes, no, so yeah, chapter 2 it's like a courtroom drama, basically.
It is, and it's
Um,
really good.
It is really good.
I had a hard time putting this chapter down.
And
Yeah,
Sturm is so
like-
professional through it all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we learn a lot about like the knights, and like the older ones who are sticking more firmly to tradition, and you've got younger knights who are supporting our boy Sturm and being a little more radical, but like still in the very like I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
What
her
a
support
move. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I cannot defend myself without calling Derek a fucking bitch, so I'm gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your Honor, he's a bitch, but I can't say that out loud.
It's true. I mean, well, we actually so to go bit by bit here, one, the chapter opens with one of the new sort of faces in the knight to us, the reader, in the knighthood's leadership, right? Which is Gunther Uthwiston, who feels a lot like the King Arthur of the Knights of Solamnia.
Yeah.
Right, he's very classic. It sounds like Sturm's initial assessment of the knights, where they were all politicers to a man, was not entirely correct. It in the sense that like Gunther does clearly play the game of politics. We see from his own sort of internal monologue, but he would prefer to be in a world where he doesn't have to, where he could be more like Sturm, right?
And it sounds like there's a faction of young knights who immediately like they see Sturm as like the real deal Solamnik, and they're just immediately all about that.
Yeah, he's their boy. Although not much of a boy, because this chapter does finally answer the question of how old some of these characters are.
Yes.
Man's 30 plus.
Over
Man
30. Yeah, 30
over
plus.
30 and is still considered a junior.
Yes. So that's impressive. I did not think that Sturm was in his 30s.
If I recall from my predictions in book 1, I'm pretty sure that's about what I guessed Sturm was.
It might have been. It might have been. Re-roll the tape. No.
Yes,
Yeah,
pause right now. Because as everybody knows, we do just record these in one long take. We haven't left the podcast room in about 3 months now.
Yeah.
It's true.
I might have said late 20s, but going gray early. I don't remember fully. It was a while ago.
Yeah. It's also a little hard to know exactly how much time has passed in the books total. Like it's been like maybe a year or two. So, but yeah, somewhere in the 30s, which is crazy. They review everything that happened in Icewall and elsewhere, sort of in defense of Sturm, because Derek, of course, of all the things to accuse Sturm of, is accusing him of cowardice, which was probably not the charge to pick.
Yeah.
And I love the reading of the account. So you said he did this super cool thing where he slew powerful elven high lord, whatever, and then he became a coward after. Do you want to play that back for us? How'd that go?
Yeah.
Yes. So he was super brave. It did some really hardcore, super brave stuff. And he's a coward?
Yeah, and then it's like, well, he didn't fight the elves who were shooting at us, and then Sturm's like, I didn't fight the elves who were missing us, like, because they're our friends. And then Derek's like, well, maybe enemy is a strong word, like,
Yes, he was showing cowardice in the face of the enemy. To which then he later admits, well, enemy might be pushing it a little bit.
Yeah. He's like, but the measure says, and to which, of course, Gunther thinks to himself his own interesting, colorful words for Derek, which are slick bastard.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
good old Derek's a slick
What a
bastard.
Boy Scout. That's as bad as his lexicon goes.
I know. Well, you know, for a knight, bastard is a pretty, especially a knight in a world like this, bastard is a pretty
That would be a pretty
intense word, right?
yeah,
That's true.
because being born
know.
out of wedlock would be not very good for these people.
You
'Cause,
know, no.
yeah,
But yes, it's just just a really good, like, there's a lot of really good back and forths here.
yeah,
It's so good. Where like, my God, what have I highlighted here? Yeah, he refuses to answer a question because it would impugn the honor of the knighthood. And he's like, that's why. And Gunther's like, that's a serious charge. Do you you really want to make it? He's like, no, that's why I prefer not to respond. I'm like, okay, Sturm, you can play this game. Like,
yes.
Mhm.
Please know.
saying like, if I were gonna say something, I would say this, but I don't want to, so I'm not gonna say it. Having
Yes.
just said it out loud, like,
Yes,
damn.
well, I'm not saying that Derek's a bitch. I can't
Your Honor.
confirm whether or not Derek is a bitch, Your Honor.
I cannot
Yep.
answer. I cannot answer your question and defend myself without it being the entire Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. I will drop an entire diss track in this courtroom if you make me answer. So I will
Yep.
remain silent.
Yes, indeed. Although he does say um, when pushed by Gunther that he believes Derek is misrepresenting him in an effort to further his own ambitions. Just throws it out there, and then Gunther freaks out, or Derek flips. Sorry, not Gunther. Derek flips out, right?
Yeah,
And
people
Gunther
had to
shuts
restrain
down.
him. It was fucking
Yeah.
intense.
And and then Sturm lets his defense rest.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Got too much honor to impugn the honor of a fellow knight, even if he's betraying him.
Well, not just not just Derek, but again, the whole knighthood, right? Like, because
Yeah.
this kind of is the knighthood itself is a little bit on trial here, which is I think why we have Gunther's perspective in the first place, is because like this is sort of the coming to head, I guess, for the like Sturm is the catalyst that is bringing the tensions between these two factions, right? This sort of super political faction of knights, and then these sort of like traditional, but like I guess traditional in a way that makes them forward moving, right? Faction of other knights, and sort of because they are sort of without leadership. The order, it seems, they don't have their grand master at the moment, and so Sturm is just the variable that was added that now is causing everything to boil over. So it's so essentially, yeah, you know, I think that's why Sturm says it, is because it's the knights who are on trial entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course we get the resolution of this trial. Or is that chapters from now? Is that
No,
later?
It all comes out in this chapter.
Yeah. He has been demoted to 3rd tier general.
Yeah.
It
is one of those things I see a bunch of times in fiction of your punishment is your promotion.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, and I think maybe a point of nuance. I think in your synopsis of the episode, I think you stated that he was put in command of the Knights of the Crown. I don't think that's what happened. I think he was given a command role representing the Knights of the Crown. I don't think he actually has knight subordinates.
He is, because
at least that's not what it sounds like anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
I might have mistyped there, which is my bad. You can crucify me in the comments.
We might get to his POV again, and he's got knights working for him. I don't know,
because he is put there to act on behest of Gunther.
Yeah,
right? And instead of typing out all of that, he was put in command. It's just much easier to say.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Well, it is one of the tropes that you see a bunch of times. And again, I really like it. I also like it's either further on in this chapter or in a different chapter because he's not allowed to wear the trappings, which really sucks because he can no longer wear his father's armor.
Well, he
Yeah.
can. No, he can though.
No, he
Um,
specifically can't. That's why he had to go find
no,
new
but
armor.
he specifically can because part of what happens in this chapter. So you're right. He's given command over what is it? Yeah, he's placed as third in command of the army that is due to set sail shortly for Palanthus. So he's not given command over a group of knights. He's third in command. He's like there's the general, and then there's whoever's below the general, and then
Yeah, and it
then
sounds like a
whoever's
lot of
below
the
that guy
people,
is Sturm.
and a lot of the people in the army, most of the army is probably not knights.
Yes, but crucially, so this punishment is a sequence, right? So it's Sturm. It's our judgment that you henceforth cease wearing any of the trappings or accoutrements of a knight of Solamnia because he's not a knight, right? And there henceforth you will not draw pay from the coffers of the knights nor obtain any property or gifts from them. Which all the knights are like, what? That's crazy that we don't even do that, right? So that's a completely empty punishment. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. The fact that what means something about it is that it's signaling to everybody who's gathered there that he's not actually being punished. Right.
Yeah.
And then then Gunther says he's like, Gunther goes like, we're bound to accept the word of a tried and tested knight like Derek over the word of a man who has not yet won his shield, which again is why he can't wear anything. But the measure also states this man shall be able to call witnesses. He's like, so you couldn't call witnesses. Derek couldn't provide witnesses. So it's very weird and irregular. He's like, so in order to resolve this problem, you're just not going to be a squire anymore. You are now accepted into the lowest order of knights on my honor. So Gunther is essentially saying, like, on his own honor, staking his own honor, that Sturm Brightblade is now knighted as a knight of the crown.
So my counter
which means
to
he
this,
can now wear his family's stuff. He can carry his family sword, etc., etc.
So my counter to this is starting on page 270. The last few days of the army
270?
before. Yeah, 270.
Do we know what page 270 is in the big book?
Oh yeah,
I
our
don't.
page numbers are very different from yours.
Yeah, probably. So Sturm, he had to find armor used. He couldn't afford new. He packed his father's carefully, intending it to carry it, since he was forbidden to wear it.
Still forbidden to wear. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So strictly, pointed it out. Oh yeah, probably. It's fucking full plate. He's wearing the stuff that he found around town.
Yeah. Although I think his father's armor is for the Knights of the Rose anyway.
Yeah. But again, because it's not entirely there is still a punishment there, so that is why he's forbidden to wear it. I think he's still allowed to carry the sword, but not the armor because it has all the trappings of a knight. And because unfortunately he doesn't have readable access to his family's coffers, he can't go out and buy a new set of armor to just temporarily wear.
Well, no, he would have no. He has access to his family's coffers. He doesn't have access to the coffers of the knighthood at all, which again is something that like no knight has touched because the Knights of Solamnia are poor.
I'm not sure if his family has much of a coffers.
They don't. No, his family barely exists. He's literally it.
But yeah,
the Brightblades hardly happen anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, more or less, this was a really fucking great chapter. It was my favorite until I got to, I believe it is chapter 5 or yeah, I think it's chapter 5 with the gnomes. We get more gnome action, and I just love the gnomes.
Hold on, are we done with this chapter? With chapter 2?
Do you got anything to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the Knights of the Crown surround Sturm and celebrate. Obviously, the knights all understand this to be a big party.
Yeah, because a
Sturm
lot of
won.
a lot of the younger knights are members of the Knights of the Crown, and they had
Yep.
Sturm. They supported Sturm because, well, he
Yep.
was kind of being defiant to a lot of the politicking, and he was standing opposed to the rule of law rather than the spirit of the law.
And it's
Yep.
also like, it's not like Sturm is the first person Derek has done shit like this to, by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
he's
yeah, no, not
made
at
a
all.
lot of enemies on his ride to the top. So there's plenty of people who are like, oh, Derek's doing Derek shit again.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's probably why the two people who supported Derek, who were said to be Derek's supporters, once they were in a private chat with Gunther, were inclined to side with Gunther. Like,
Yeah.
because they're like, well, Derek is kind of a douche. But
yeah. I mean, I also still got the feeling that Gunther did some fighting on behalf of Sturm to get him all of the punishment.
oh well, he absolutely did. He put everything on the line.
Yeah.
The whole like Sturm says it here at the end of the chapter. He says, pledging your honor for me means that if I fail, you will suffer. You will be stripped of your rank, your title, and your lands. So like, I don't even know necessarily that he had to convince them of anything or fight for it. I think he probably just called on some part of their code. It was like, well, I'm putting this on my honor. That's it. And then they probably all had to go along with it. But the fact that Alfred and Michael kind of affirm Sturm a little bit suggests that gesture, is more meaningful to them than Derek's politicking.
Yeah.
Even if they're Derek supporters.
Yeah, I mean, I am not looking forward to Return of the Derek or the Derek Strikes Back. Because it is coming. I guarantee there's going to be some fuckery.
Now, I got a question. We got to be careful with our language here because there's one word that YouTube isn't going to like us to say. So, do you think that this army they have sent out, do you think this was something of a sewer slide mission? Do you think that was part of it? Was it kind of a doomed assignment?
I don't think so. I think they believe that they actually stand a chance. Because if I remember later, in one of the later chapters, we do learn one of the reasons why they were going there is to recruit more of an army.
Yeah.
To have more dudes.
Yeah, I think the situation becomes dire really fast when it didn't need to be because Derek decided that the army should hole up in a fortified tower instead of blocking a pass, which was a real stupid decision.
Yeah, because it is so easy to defend a tower rather than a pass, and a nice, tight, easily defended pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
man, if only we had ancient history to fall back on lessons about defending a pass.
I don't think such a thing has ever happened.
No, I've never heard of anyone defending a pass with shield walls. The issue is dragons, though. However, that could be solved with the appropriate use of any. I will stop with my cannons. I love cannons.
The only thing for this chapter that I think we should touch on is just this brief moment at the end, sort of close out chapter 2, which is Gunther giving Sturm a blessing in the place of Sturm's father. Which to me is a very nice gesture, and also kind of like, I'm your dad now. Like it's like a surrogate.
Yeah,
surrogate relationship is established, and now we can kind of understand who Gunther will be for Sturm from here on out.
Yeah,
which is it is very touching.
And I'm not going to jump us back to the beginning where Margaret gives us just the most cold-hearted foreshadowing. I'm not going to mention it other than to say, shame on you, Margaret. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's painful what you put in that first page of this chapter.
Yep.
Shame on you.
So anyways, how
about
our boy Raceland being sad that his traveling circus is over?
Yeah. Around Yuletide, no less.
Around Yuletide.
Shame.
D&D Christmas in every world.
And Raceland has been happy. Strange. he says.
It's a weird feeling that he doesn't quite understand, but I'm happy that he's happy. His joy brings me joy.
It's a little weird for me. No.
It's a little fucked up, don't you know?
Yes, I mean,
Somebody being happy? Not on my goddamn planet.
And he says this is
Mhm,
probably the last time that's going to happen.
Which,
Yeah.
again, I hope is not foreshadowing.
everything Raceland says is
Ugh.
foreshadowing.
I'm sticking with my guns. I hope it's not foreshadowing. I need him to be happy.
He's a walking, talking foreshadow.
What you can't
Um,
see is the tears
I've
welling
got-
up in my eyes. I need him to be. I need a win for him.
Mhm,
He's my
mhm.
boy.
But yes, but yeah, it just sort of suggests that this is true. I mean, he immediately turns to the evil artifact, right?
Yeah.
He pulls it out. He's talking to it.
He
It's all
cannot be
spooky.
left alone. God, again, why would you leave the power mad lad alone with the power mad artifact?
It's true.
It is why I'm not allowed to be left alone in a room with a bunch of Warhammer. Like, awful things will happen.
They will, and they probably, well,
Yeah, my wallet
Um,
can't support it.
yes. But what do you think about this section, Austin? Him and the orb, as he ponders his orb.
Again, it is one of those things that shows, one, he is desperate for more power, and a reminder that the orb, well, not good or evil. It does touch on that.
Ooh, that's a bold statement. That's a very bold statement.
Well, again, that might be some foreshadowing from a later chapter in which they. Yeah.
It's not foreshadowing from a chapter, but the orbs are. I mean,
the orbs were made by all three flavors of wizards: good, bad, and neutral.
Yes, but remember, my friend, artifacts in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, first and second edition,
all
are
have
intelligent,
personalities. Oh yeah,
which means they have alignments.
Again, I haven't read the modules. I don't know the alignment of this dragon orb, but I assume
All of them, all of the orbs are. I'll just throw it out there because it's not foreshadowing anything. All of the orbs are evil.
I can.
Yeah.
More or less.
They can. Yes, they are evil, and they like the ring, the One Ring from Tolkien. They endeavor to undermine and control the people who seek to use them.
Mind control powers, as it turns out, even on a dragon, tend to be evil aligned.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, trying to approach an all-powerful orb when you're not all-powerful, nor do you have a backing of all three colors of robes and high wizard's towers.
True.
Just doing random experimenting in the back of a wagon with a magical artifact is just not good advice at any time in anybody's life. Don't do drugs, kids, is roughly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, especially because you never
do.
know what might happen. Your orb might spontaneously manifest hands and touch you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, so the magical hands,
Yeah.
and they whisper dark things into Raceland, such as, "Hey, take a nap," and there's a place where you can get a whole bunch more book knowledge.
It's true.
And
I keep going.
And it is, again, as you said, it is an artifact, and it has its own prerogatives. So
It does.
It is not instructing this on behalf of saving the planet. It's instructing on behalf of furthering the orb's goals.
Indeed. One thing that I think is interesting, I'd like to sort of talk about those hands that grab him, because I think it foreshadows, it touches a bit on this. There's a lot going on with the orb, right? The hands come out, and I think we have a clue. Raceland can't figure out who the hands are, right? But I think we have some clues when it sort of says like that the colors in the orb stop swirling, right? And there's a light that glows in the center of it. That's neither white or black. It's all colors, but none. Slender hands, probably feminine. So I think and that they sort of their grip is the grip of death, right? I think it's evident that this is Takesis reaching out and grabbing Raceland through the orb, and compelling him to trying to take control, trying to compel him, and he fights it, and it's only sort of at the end there where like it starts to, I would say, lie to him. Right?
Yeah.
She tests his power, and it's like, are you good? It's like, I'm neither. I'm nothing. I'm everything. Ooh, the essence of dragons captured long ago. This thing's lying. 100% lying to him at every turn.
Yeah, has further its own goals. No, you are
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It's a naughty ball.
I used to play.
Ball.
I used to play
Very
bass for Naughty Ball.
Speaking of Naughty Ball, what do you guys think about what happened with Tika and Karamon in this chapter? Who were prevented
Yes.
from playing Naughty Ball?
Will.
They were not prevented. One person made a choice that impacted him because we care about consent here. He said no, and no means no.
But why
Tika,
did
however,
he say
he said no because right now he believes he has some more important goals. And if he had said yes, he would devote himself entirely to Tika. Which I get 100%. Love makes people do crazy things. But
Well, I
there's
think
currently
it's perhaps a step more than that. It was that he very consciously at this moment has made the choice of the absolute priorities. Who's number one? Raceland.
Yeah. Because there's a war
he didn't
going
even
on.
say oh, you know, I would have to, like, I'd have to split everything between you and Raceland. It's just that, no, Raceland is the number one priority. You cannot be. You should probably go find someone else.
Yeah. Like, sorry, but not sorry. There's nothing else I can do.
And this is
because
yet
he's
another
codependent.
Yes,
Yes.
it's one of those examples of the codependence. Probably the clearest example of how this whole situation is so toxic for Karamon as well.
Yeah, like, it's not good for anybody, any of the parties involved. Right? And that's
Yeah.
something important. And again, like, we do know that there were at least alleged visions that were received that had an influence, and I don't know. I wasn't there to confirm whether or not the visions actually happened the way that they did.
Yeah.
And by visions, I mean the dream that Raceland had.
Yep.
What dream?
The one
Wait, what?
where he's like, "Oh yes, we were supposed to be one person, but we were born in two bodies," and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wasn't there. I can't say whether or not that is true. I like to think it is, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, we do sort of get some perspective on that, though, I guess, you know. I think Karamon's wrong to call it cursed by the gods, right? Raceland said to me in the dream that we were one whole person cursed by the gods, right? That's just Raceland talking, because he's talking.
Yeah.
He's referencing the dream back at in Sylvanost, right? And Raceland was coherent that entire time, so like he was just kind of saying stuff. So like, I think in that regard, that's probably incorrect. But
Yeah, and it
more
was
relevant, I think, is what the Towers of the High Sorcery told Karamon.
yes, that Raceland has the power to like save us all. And well, unfortunately for him, he got a little sick.
Mm-hmm. Well,
After some stuff happened.
Unfortunately, I mean, I think even more unfortunately, the person that they told this to was kind of a dummy. Like,
Yep.
they're just like, yeah, he's got the
dude.
strength to save the world, and then dummy Karamon is just like, but I'm the strong one. Like, come on, dude, that's not what they meant.
Again, it's another reason why reading comprehension is very important.
Yeah, like, bro, when the wizards say your brother who's a wizard has the strength to save the world, they're not talking about his muscles, bro.
Bro, we are expanding on
there.
We are expanding beyond your need to lift, bro.
Yeah.
Karamon just repeatedly linking to them the dictionary definition of strength.
Yeah, he's like, no.
Again, I know this dictionary only gives out one very specific definition of strength, but it's the one definition of strength, guys.
He pulls out the player's guide and he's like, no, there are 6. If you mean he's a wizard, his intelligence will save the world, not his strength is it's a different stat. He dump statted in strength. Like yeah, no.
But now all I am picturing is this conversation happening between the player and the GM, and I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you shouldn't have said strength
if
you didn't mean it. Yeah.
Strength has a very clear definition in the PHP. Stop trying to change things, bro.
Yeah. But
anyway, so
Karamon's
I now
obviously
found
a
my
dummy
new
and
favorite
conflicted.
player.
There you go. He's a big conflicted dummy, saying big conflicted dummy things to his super hot girlfriend, who's apparently a baddie because of we learned in the first chapter 1.
Well, we've known that since the beginning.
Oh yeah, but now we know she's a baddie who can dance. Like,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she can sew her own skimpy costumes. Like she's like a giga baddie. Like
she's what we all wanted when we were growing up, or as adults. I don't know. I don't speak on behalf of other people. There you go. Maybe she's well, she's clearly conflicted about being single, so you might have a chance.
And despite Raceland continually being a drag on the relationship, in this case, Raceland's fucking around and finding out is actually the thing that stops Karamon from breaking up the relationship like impulsively. He interrupts them kind of with his shenanigans.
Passing out. He passes out, and everybody got super concerned. So before our boy Karamon could make a terrible life decision, he's got to go deal with his brother being unconscious.
Yeah,
it's true.
So
it's true.
Fucking power move.
Unconscious
magic
and
orb.
smiling.
Power move orb. Keeping his brother happy.
Yes. Something about spells of the ancients.
And they're his.
They are.
Because he cares about getting more power. He wants to drop like mega fireballs or something. I don't know what the equivalent of a 10th level spell is in AD&D.
They're pretty bad.
And a lost spell.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so it's interesting because, much like we said at the beginning of the chapter, right? There's a nice symmetry here. In a chapter, Raceland's like, oh yeah, would have been nice. Would have been nice to just be a magician, and now we're back to Raceland murmuring to himself about powerful magic and smiling his sinister smile that foretells of doom and gloom.
Yeah, it would have been nice that I made a poor life decision that I could have just not done. I could have made the positive life choice of, hey guys, maybe we should just continue like being a circus. Bring joy.
But then the world would have been lost.
That's what the Knights of Salami are there for.
Ooh.
They're not having any beefs right now. They're not doing anything silly.
Mhm.
Ooh. I don't know if that would. I think it all. I think the wizards of high sorcery were pretty clear. I think it all falls apart without Raceland, and
You know
which
what?
might even be, to bring it back to our opening conversation, the entire reason why they allowed him to take the test when they did. His life had to get a little bit messed up for the good of the world, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't really trust a whole bunch of old white dudes sitting in a tower not doing anything.
You don't know that they're all old white dudes. You don't know that.
Are they?
One of them is.
Oh, okay. I trust you.
Parsalian is an old white dude, but
But in any case,
But in any
Yuletide
case.
guests, we have been yapping.
yes,
We must yap in a forward momentum, a forward
we
direction.
must.
But
We
meanwhile,
must much like Gunther saying to rub him down well, we must rub our words down well so that they slip and slide forward
You have nailed this
toward
description.
conclusion. Yeah.
so
Hot oats.
as we are sliding down this slip and slide, we arrive at Gunther's home to
Where
find
they're having hot oats.
we're having hot oats with our two actual protagonists, Fizzband and Tass.
Yes. Who arrived just a few hours ago. Hours ago.
Oh,
There's
I
been a
missed the
kender
point.
and a doddering old fool in Gunther's place for hours.
But they were safely relegated to the war room because they couldn't screw anything up in there.
Where Tass only stole some of the valuables.
I think he pocketed a mug,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly.
Yeah.
No, it was given to me, and then it just says like best Solemnic night ever.
A property of Gunther. Do not give out.
Gunter's OC, do not steal, do not copy.
Yep.
Yes, Gunther's original cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what OC stands for, right?
In
yeah,
this
yeah.
context, yeah.
But Fizzband does make Tasselhoff put the cup back.
Yeah.
I think that's
So-
Fizzband yelling at him. Yes, it is Fizzband.
Yeah, it is. We are getting to see the different side of Fizzband from the doddering old fool. He still does a bit of that, but now he put on his serious face.
Yes.
Which he has to
Yes.
do a few times over the next couple chapters.
Mm-hmm. It's very.
So
It is
first-
very much. I think I've mentioned before. It is very much a whole like Gandalf the White versus Gandalf the Gray situation, right? Like now that Fizzband is back, he's
Yeah,
It's
he has to now do his job.
yeah.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
would
He's never
say
been
for,
more back.
for
He
the
has to,
majority of the time that we see Fizzband in this book, he hasn't been much of a doddering old fool, except the first time he saw Tass, and then he's like, "Oh, everybody's here. Oh no, I have to go to work."
Mm-hmm. Yep. But he must.
Yup. So he lays down his credentials. He's a magic user, which the knights think, or which Gunther thinks is valuable, and then he's also a companion of Sturm and Lorana and everything, which Gunther was waiting to show up. And
Yeah.
kind of no questions asked. He's like, "Well, the gnomes have the orb. You should go check it out."
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, anytime anyone who looks like they can destroy my castle with a couple of words, I tend to just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Yeah.
I do.
I'm okay. No, that's fair. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm. What don't you know?
That I wouldn't let an old wizard who has the ability to destroy my home kind of do what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, as it says here in the chapter, the Knights of Solamnia have always feared magic.
Yeah, with good reason. Like, to be fair,
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
every wizard is like a walking nuke.
Exactly.
So they send the walking nuke to Mount
Mhm.
Nevermind.
Yes, What a place.
I love it.
What a place. I remember as a kid, I really didn't like the gnomes because I was very hung up on like, oh, we're here with these cool, noble knights. They're so serious. And then like, oh, now we're undercut by these silly little guys. As an adult, no, the gnomes are great.
The gnomes are my favorite. We were actually having a bit of a discussion about this in the Discord server, which if you're not there, you can join us there. We're
Mhm,
nice.
Yeah, the link is in the description to get into the it's called the Lance Discord server. It's just my Discord server, but there's a Dragonlance, it's called a Lance section.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be more active in there, so you can come talk to me. Or don't. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life.
Damn it. Tell people. So what is the relationship? There's also this chapter before we actually go to Mount Nevermind. I think it's kind of interesting how this chapter explains the relationship between the Knights of Solamnia and the gnomes, because they have one.
And it's interesting that the narrative doesn't continue for the rest of the chapter. It just gives us the exposition on the gnomes and the knights.
Yeah.
And again, it is something I enjoyed this chapter, and I was poking a little bit of fun. But it was interesting to see like the gnomes' point of view and why they were coming up with their ideas about how to hide a fucking mountain.
Oh, I mean, I haven't even gotten to there yet.
Yeah. Sorry. After you.
Not chapter 5. I was going to say that it's interesting that the Knights of Solamnia, who are very staid and dour and like, kind of intense, seem to have a very positive relationship with the gnomes, not only because they went and they helped the gnomes with a major problem about involving rotten eggs or something, but aka a gas explosion, natural gas, which doesn't actually smell like anything. But
it seems to me that
but
like,
they have
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that they have a high regard for not only their individual honor, their code, and their measure, but also technology.
Yeah.
The Solamnic Knights apparently have that up there co-equal with everything else.
Well, I think it makes sense if they're vaguely anti-magic, they're probably pro technology. And it kind of makes sense, like they went there to save the gnomes originally from their own stink bomb, and then it very quickly became apparent, you little guys, you can build catapults. Welcome to the team.
We need
pulleys,
catapults.
shafts. They invented the gnomes invented the screw and the gear.
Yeah, pressurized springs, steam engines.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, very valuable technology. Even at a basic level, simple machines, right? Like setting aside the complex machines they make, pulleys, gears. Like these are the things that are necessary for like advanced. If you're in a survival game, right? Like, these are the things that are necessary for complex building.
Well, for pulleys, it makes building castles, like more advanced structures, so much easier.
Yeah. Because as we saw, like, way back in the first book in Pax Larkus, right? There's the giant stone blocks that fall, right? Like to like seal up the door. Like that is potentially primitive technology. It's either primitive technology, which is why it required so much space and room to just drop a block in front of a door, or it's the outcome of this early relationship with the gnomes. Could be one or the other. Yeah. And we also are warned in advance that gnomes speak real fast.
Yes, that is one of the first things that was said. You have to tell a gnome to shut up. They don't consider it rude.
Yes. And now we can go to chapter 5, where they
no
gnome, living or dead, has ever finished a sentence. What a great detail!
I loved it. I loved reading the gnomes' voices because, as you all know, I read out loud to my cats.
You do. Yes.
And I love that. And oh boy, howdy, it was fun to read really fast. And then when Nosh was speaking and slowing down his speech, I did try to emulate somebody who traditionally speaks really fast, but had to slow down for everyone else's sake.
right?
And that was a
So
lot
now
of
let
fun.
us go. So now let us go to Mount Nevermind, or as the gnomes call it in their language, a great, huge, tall mound made of several different strata of rock, which we have identified granite, obsidian, quartz, with traces of other rock we're still working on, that has its own internal heating system, which we're studying in order to copy someday, that heats the rock up to temperatures that convert it into both liquid and gaseous states, which occasionally come to the surface and float on the side of the great, huge, tall mound.
Damn, I wouldn't have been able to say that fast.
I speak gnomish. I mean, I'm not very good at it. I got a C in high school, but you know.
Now, Hauntie, real question.
Yeah.
Did you rehearse that?
No.
Oh, hell yeah. You go.
Page 5, chapter 5.
Yes.
Gnome flingers.
Oh my god. So yes.
Great slapstick comedy. And for once,
Yep.
it's comedy starring Fizzban, yet he's not the one causing the comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I didn't even pay a lot of attention to the comedy. I was just so entranced by the gnomes.
Oh, whoops! The net on Skimbosh didn't catch him. Don't worry, floor 14 will catch him. Nope. Okay, 13 will catch him. Okay, no 12. No, okay.
Surely
will catch him
11.
eventually.
Yeah. God, yeah. They even said one of my favorite lines. It's Blank's problem, not yours. It's an ish them, not an ish me. The mad bastards use catapults to get around, which again is not smart. That's a terrible idea, even with nets, because somebody's going to land wrong and crack their skull open. But I don't care.
Well, never mind just the tension of having your body flying through the air.
Yeah, especially if you're allegedly a 200-year-old human.
Yes.
A 200-plus-year-old human who just got yeeted across the chasm. I don't think his heart will survive the landing, but he turns out fine. He went to Kimbo.
He's had worse falls.
Oh, too
one
soon.
that literally killed him.
Too soon. He didn't die. He just turned into feathers. He turned into feathers, as old men do when they fall.
It's true.
Trust me, I'm a fake doctor. But yeah, I fucking love the gnomes. But right, did we actually miss anything about for chapter 4?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Yeah, gnome love. Yeah.
We find out Nosh is completely devoted. His life quest was the dragon orb to study.
Yeah. And
yes,
Tass was like, how long do you guys live for? That can't be your life quest. Until he learns that it was his father's life quest and his grandfather's life quest and his great-great-grandfather's life quest. There's a lot of gnomes that came before Nosh, whose life quest.
They're all in purgatory until one of them does it.
And again, that is just some fantastic world building for their different flavors of afterlives.
It's true.
And I'm not saying that I'm stealing the gnomes almost verbatim for my homebrew setting that I am very incredibly slowly working on, but I'm not saying that.
I mean, Tinker Gnomes get around. They end up in Spelljammer, so you can have them show up in any D&D world you want.
Yep.
I play Pathfinder, thank you very much, not D&D.
The Pathfinder gnomes are so great, though, that you don't want
I do. Yeah.
You don't want to get rid of those guys.
Yeah, but I'm changing a lot of things because I'm stealing blatantly from other source materials that I enjoy. Anyways, not here to talk about different source materials I'm stealing from.
Right. So that's why. Is that why all of the characters in your Pathfinder games are just Hatsune Miku?
You weren't supposed to tell people that, Will. That was in confidence between me, you, and our future Eberron game, where I'm playing Hatsune Miku again.
Oh dear.
For the 19th time. I've been playing with Will for years. Ironically, the only time you have not seen me play Hatsune Miku is the times I've been playing on the Handful of Nerds.
Right.
Yeah.
Every other time, same character.
Hatsune Miku.
Indeed.
Every time.
Yeah.
So,
Fizzban says there's an easy way or a hard way, and the easy way we lose.
Yeah.
Yes.
As is tradition, and the hard way might see some people not survive to the end of a story.
Also true. Yes.
And
He makes it
Fizban,
sound at first like, I have the power to choose which of these timelines, but he's like, nah, everybody has to choose these different ways. It's kind of like 8 different people have to choose the hard way.
yeah. And I think so far everyone has.
Yep.
For now, at least. I assume Derek is going to ruin it for everybody somehow.
Yeah.
He may not. Who knows?
I know. Fuck Derek. I don't like him very much.
And then I think that gets us to chapter 6, which is probably the one with the most to discuss.
Yes.
Yes.
The Council of Pale Rock.
Yes.
Of
Is that-
Ivory
did-
Pebble.
The cancel. Yeah. So it takes place on the 28th of December, which again is a fascinating thing that they use our regular naming conventions instead of their own month system, which is fine. And it converts really easy for most people to understand what they mean by December instead of saying like Swords Month, which means literally nothing to anybody.
Yep.
I mean, I think that I can't recall if this is actually the way it is in the game setting. I think this might be something that's just for the book.
Which is
The
true because at
books,
least
yeah.
with the books as opposed to the game setting is we can like in the tabletop they can put a conversion chart in there, which doesn't need to be in the books because it doesn't make a difference.
Indeed.
It matters for flavor in the tabletop, less so in the book because well they are limited in space.
Yes.
Yep. So the council starts with a reminder that the first council didn't go well because the elves were fighting, the dwarves didn't
Yeah.
have their special hammer, and the
And-
humans
yeah.
couldn't convince anyone to do anything. It was a mess. But the second one,
Well, one more thing.
Yeah.
The Kender were like,
yeah.
no, we've got this. We will help. And everybody was not very excited about that.
Right.
Because, again, for some reason, they don't believe that the Kender could come equipped with bashing staffs and slings to murder a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'll never underestimate the hobbits. They show up with halberds, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. And another important thing is to point out the 28th is Famine Day, which is an important day because of the cataclysm.
It's marked on my calendar.
Is it? You got
No.
the 28th marked as Famine Day?
I get one.
You should get a calendar. You probably should. I've got one.
I had one and then I moved and it disappeared in the
My partner buys me an otter calendar every year.
Ooh.
It has otters in it, and as was pointed out to me, I make an otter sound whenever I see an otter.
Okay. So now it's a daily occurrence.
Yes, I get to look at my calendar and and make the sound I'm not going to do here because it's adorable allegedly, and I'm not about that life. I need to spread misery wherever I go. So, anyways, you are right. The second council, they bring in everyone, and they also say who is coming to the council, and how some people can't make it there this week, such as the hill dwarves who are busy fighting a war against the dragon armies,
Yep.
and the mountain dwarves who just live too far away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Though they
And
have now got the hammer.
Yes,
And
they
the
do
Kender.
now have and the Kender didn't come. I don't recall them saying why the Kender weren't invited.
No, the Kender were there.
I thought it was Tass who was speaking on behalf of the Kender because there wasn't a Kender representative.
Is he?
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
thought.
Cronin.
He does distinctly speak on behalf of his race.
Let me see
He
here.
makes that pretty clear.
The only person affected who offered help was Cronin. Oh yes, that's the first council. Cronin was at the first
Yeah.
council. Never mind.
So the chances are the Kinder weren't invited because, well, allegedly they needed to make adult decisions or something.
Indeed, or they were and they just didn't show up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the council begins. The second one begins immediately with the elves saying, "We have decided finally that unity would be good, and we're using this unity to be disunited further."
Yes. We've come together to point out the fact that we want our orb back, or else. Again,
We
like,
This, of
understand
course,
the
these are the
armies of
Qualinesti.
darkness will the armies of darkness will kill us all, but our plan is to kill each other first.
yes, which is, I
Yeah.
think, is what Gunther says. Is like, oh yeah, we will all. We don't even need them to show up. We'll just no, it might have been Fizbin. Says, yeah, we don't need the dragon armies to show up. We'll just kill ourselves. Make it easy for them.
I'm actually quite surprised that Alhana was on board for this. She she has seen these goddamn dragon orbs and what they do. I feel like she wouldn't have like fully backed the Qualinesti and the Kaganesti into coming together to try and get it back, even like declaring war against her friends. I feel like Alhana should know better.
Was she involved?
She was there in
Was she?
Sylvanesti, was she not, when they did
I
the Dreamer
don't-
stuff?
I don't.
You remember she
think
like alpha mailed through
She
the
was,
woods
yes.
while everyone else was
Oh.
asleep?
Yeah. Yes, she
That's
was
fair.
there. She was present for all of that. But there's a lot of we're in politics mode now.
Yeah.
So the question is like, can she say much at what can she say, right? Like versus what can she not say?
Mm.
I suppose.
Yes. Plus, she
Yeah.
may still still authentically believe herself that the humans are not an appropriate, like having seen the terror and destruction, like she may herself believe that like the humans are an inappropriate, like that, the humans shouldn't have
Yeah.
it either, right? Like,
Yeah, the humans cannot be trusted.
and
They're
maybe
still...
the elves, maybe this time if all the elves are working together, maybe this time,
Honestly, yeah, that is also fair.
because they did successfully secret the orb away for a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did keep it hidden and unused for quite a period.
Yeah, since the towers of sorcery started to fall during the collapse is when they had how long they've had the orb.
Maybe
So for a pretty long time,
they had it since her dad took the test of high sorcery.
Yeah, so they've had it for at least a week, probably more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else? Let me pull up my summary again. So almost immediately, Gunther says after the elves deliver their dialogue of "Give us the orb," or else he's like, well, being political and polite about it, more or less said, "Come and take it." And then everyone started getting strapped. The knights disappeared to come heavily armed. The elves were getting ready to draw swords. And then one small voice rose up. Well, one small voice looked at the old wizard who was taking a nap and was like, all right, it's time for me to do it. It's time for me to do what I have to do. And Tass walked up saying, hey, what are y'all doing? I'm going to speak on behalf of me and my people. And he kept talking until he walked up towards the orb. And again, did what came naturally, which is he stole the orb and yeeted it at the magic rock. And yeah, it did get people to stop fighting with each other and start fighting him. So, he was playing the great uniter by breaking the thing that was dividing people, which shows two very important things. First and foremost, that the rock is indeed magic.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
'Cause-
blessed by the king priest of Istar himself.
Yes. But, like, now it's 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, yes, there was weird shit happening, but weird shit happens everywhere. But to break an artifact is something that is really hard to do in D&D.
It is true.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, like, Kenders don't have the greatest reputation of having a high strength score. So, like, it was entirely the Rock doing all the work and not his throwing abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a proper task speech over all of this. Oh no, that was before the thing.
Yes, we get a
Yeah.
task speech, which was a
Yeah,
really
the
good speech.
It was. To me, it felt a little bit too hobbity and not quite Kenderish enough. But that may
Yeah.
just be me.
I think the reasoning is he had to stop being a bit of a Kender for a moment and start speaking like, some of the other speech that he's learned from his friends over the years. He's not trying to move Kender into action. He's trying to communicate with, a bunch of arrogant and ignorant tall folk.
Perhaps. And we are talking very like a very broad and blurry line between the two.
Yeah. I mean, I almost
Between
wonder, like,
Kender
is this speech from Tasselhoff much of a speech, really, or is it more of a distraction?
Well, also that, because he
I think
came
it's,
up with a
like,
plan.
I think it's like 90% distraction.
A plan
'Cause
that
he-
his band predicted.
Yeah, because he's like, I know you guys don't like us very much. You think we're crazy. You think we're weird and small, and we make lots of trouble, and we take things that we shouldn't have. And that's probably true. But, there's one thing we're really good at, which is apparently, like I've just said in the whole speech, you guys are right about us. We're really good at fucking shit up. Throw. Like grab
Yep.
orb, throw orb, break, I think he's just doing a little bit of if it sounds uncharacteristic for a Kender, I think it's because it was. I don't think he was trying to give a heartfelt speech about his people so much as he was just trying to come up with an easy distraction.
Yeah,
so he could get to
fair.
the orb and do his thing.
Yeah.
And then kill the orb. And I do say kill
Yeah.
the orb. He kills it. It dies.
He
He
murdered
kills
the orb. The orb does not live to
yes.
see the sequel.
And then
No, it doesn't.
Fizban
Well-
kind of bails the situation out.
Yeah. Mhm.
And shows off his power because he sits on the magic rock. He leans fucking on the rock, and it shocked everybody in the room.
Yep.
Yes. And he says
And-
he talks some shit too. Talks some shit to the speaker. Says probably one of the hardest drops in these books so far. He says, and you, Solusteron, were a good man about 200 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, which
I'm like, damn, that's a hell of a thing to say to an elf.
which does 100% indicate that Fizban is at least 200 plus years old, which is really old
Mhm.
for a human.
Yeah. And he's like, don't tell me you don't have a daughter. You do, bitch. Like,
She's the best part about you.
Again, you're pointing to the coolest fucking thing ever and saying this sucks actually. We can all see she's cool.
Yeah.
No, we all understand that she's rad as hell. Chill out, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
And then kind of capitalizing Fizban's speech,
Yep.
the rock breaks.
Yes.
Yeah, the rock gets shattered.
And it was shattered by Theros, who shows up and said, "You know those MacGuffins that the whole series is named after? I just made a bunch of them."
Yeah, we're going to
Ooh.
MacGuffin the hell out of some dragons.
Yes. I think this is an interesting metaphor that they shatter the stone too, because like
Yeah.
You would-
They split the stone in half, which is
Yeah.
it's a good metaphor because you would think, right, it's a sacred relic, right? But it is a sacred relic that was, blessed by the king priest of Istar among other people. it was a religious relic before that, but the king priest we all remember, I'm sure, is also was the head priest whose hubris and desire to become a god is what sort of triggered the cataclysm in the first place. So like this breaking of that stone is kind of there's a little message in there. There's a little message tucked under there. About I think letting go of that sort of
letting
of
go
past,
of the past, and we have to push forward because everything's in danger now.
Everything is in danger. Mm-hmm.
It's all danger the whole way through.
Yeah,
things are not looking great, and if you don't all start getting along, I don't know, be very upsetty spaghetti.
Yeah.
And I will start yeeting dragon lances at everybody.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we have some fun knowledge about everything, because like the council is like stunned that like nobody's ever seen a dragon orb. This thing's so valuable. This is the only one anyone's ever seen. We know that there's a second one en route right now. We're following the Amazon delivery driver bringing the second replacement orb, but it is interesting to see like how many problems tasks destroying it fixed, while also we still kind of get the benefits of having an orb.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, not everybody, most people out there probably don't know that, hey, we've got a second orb incoming.
Oh, no one does. Maybe Fizzband.
Yeah,
right.
No, for sure, Fizzband. He knows shit.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't talking, but he knows shit.
Yeah. It's something that I find kind of interesting, and I would have to reread to know if this is 100% true, though. I do want to sort of touch on Margaret's writing here, and again, frame this in the context of writing these books in the late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, civil rights movement, etc. I think this might be one of the few times where she directly just refers to Theros as a black man, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's usually danced around, sort of like, his dark skin, etc., etc. But I'm pretty sure this is because they're like amid the stunned silence of the crowd, the black man reached out and lifted the weapon from the splintered remains of the rock, right?
Yeah, which again, I'm a white guy. It is.
Mm-hmm.
I always like hearing about that, especially the older I get and the more like I come to really appreciate representation.
And I do think that that's what's going on here. I could see some people being like, the black, what is that? But like, I do think that this is specifically, again, these are one of these choices that they specifically like directed the book toward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The idea of making someone of color a central figure, in the victory over evil, and I'm like, yeah, good on you.
Yeah, I think that's
hell
good.
Yeah. It is something that is it's nice to see.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially when it would have been, they could have won the one of the alternate routes, which is just not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, she could have said Theros.
Yeah, could have said Theros. Yeah, could have just not said anything in relation to it, and I'm glad she did.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else we want to discuss about this chapter, or should I assign readings?
Dragon lances are cool, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some more dragons. Because no one has talked about the fact that there's at least one good aligned dragon kicking it around.
There's also the problem that lance is kind of a weapon you're supposed to use while you're on a mount.
Yeah, it is.
Unless it's a footman's lance.
Yeah, I guess
It's not called Dragon's Footman Lance, Hauntie.
I mean, they should have been
sometimes.
They should have just called it Dragon's Javelin, because they did yeet the lance like a javelin, and I honestly think instead of making them as lances, just make them as ballista bolts. I think would have done a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably right there. Also, I have one question about the logistics of this. He would have needed the Hammer of Karis to do this. Isn't that way far away?
he had a month.
Stuff
And-
happens.
I
And
guess. Yeah.
and we do know of at least one good aligned dragon who I assume has wings. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm
that's
not a
true.
dragonologist.
True.
Where there is a will, there is a way.
Yes, indeed. But,
So
but yeah,
then-
so yeah, assign us the readings.
Yes, we are. This is going to be a bit of a bulkier read, but not too bad. It's about 70 pages.
Gird
We're
thine
going to go
loins,
all the
readers.
way to the end of this second or of this final book. So this is
Oh.
we're going to the end of Dragons of Winter Night.
The end of
And,
Dragons of Winter Night? Oh,
Yeah.
damn. For a second,
Yeah,
my brain
we're-
told me that this big, thick trilogy book that I have was the whole, and I was like, damn, Will, that's crazy. But no,
no.
actually, there's still a third of the book left.
Yeah. So we will see you in the next one. There will be a lot to discuss. Everyone
I-
breathe easy. Austin, when you hit the moments, Hauntie and I know what's coming, so you can
Yep.
you can talk to us.
Oh,
It was
I will.
foreshadowed. I want you to go back to chapter 6, by the way, or chapter not 6. Chapter 2, whichever one it was.
Oh
Sturm's
no!
trial. Reread
I-
Sturm's trial.
I don't want
When
to.
you get to the moment.
I don't
Yeah.
want
And,
to. I
Just
don't
for
want to
everyone
reread
else-
afterward.
For everyone else, remember that It's Called a Lance, our Discord server, has an entire channel about discussing the current reading chapter. So if you
Yep.
need to talk, go to that channel.
Yes.
I will probably be there, considering all of these strong hints that I'm getting told.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah. You
also
got
a
it.
spoiler talk, which I haven't been into yet.
Yeah, the spoiler chat is everything beyond the chapter we're currently on. So Austin, you're banned from
Mhm.
that.
Oh
chat.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
I get no notifications from it. I do not acknowledge its existence.
You need to make an Austin roll on Discord just to block him from it entirely.
No,
That's true.
I've already done it. I have done it.
Okay.
It is. I don't need. No. I don't need that.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. All right. So hey, I got a quick question for you, friends.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
Auntie Hauntie, we've been friends for a little while.
it's true. A couple years.
If I were a weirdo stalker and I wanted to track you down on the internet, how would you make that easy for me?
Oh, that's super easy. You can go to twitch.com/AuntieHauntie, where you will find me streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Alternately on YouTube, where I've been a little dormant, but I've been working on some new content for youtube.com/AuntieHauntie and also throwing up some clips on Auntie Hauntie at YouTube and also Auntie Hauntie archives at YouTube.
And Will, we all know you, but in a weird hypothetical, if somebody didn't know you and wanted to
Well-
track you down on the internet,
If they didn't know me, they could find me at youtube.com/WilliamSRD, where I review the video games based on tabletop franchises. And I've got one coming out in a couple days about a properly obscure tabletop franchise for once that happens to have a video game for some reason.
hell yeah.
Hmm.
And you can find me, well, here at It's Called the Lance. I'm also on another podcast with at least 2 other people who are here with us right now at A Handful of Nerds on YouTube. We're uploading more episodes soon. I hope. I promise.
We'll see.
We'll see. The project isn't dead. We are still recording.
It's true.
And
Anyway.
I think that's it
Anywho.
for us. Now, go on. Get out of here.
Leave. Bye.
No,
Bye.
I think they should stay. Okay, just keep
fine.
it running. We can go,
We're-
but just keep
we're
the
gonna
recording
continue.
going.
Can
Just give
we-
them a couple hours of silence.
Can we go? Because
We can go.
Okay,
Just-
because I have other
Yeah,
things to do
listeners,
today.
you stay. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
have a great time. Let me know when you get to the 4-hour mark. There is going to be an Easter egg there, I promise.
Oh damn.